Hello guys, and welcome back to Pro Motors. And today we're going to be replacing a fuel pump on a 2012 Honda Odyssey. But the process should be the same from a 2011 to 2017. So if you have one of those years, just follow along and I'm going to show you how to replace this fuel pump step by step. I'm also going to be replacing the lid cover and the gasket. You don't need to replace this if you're doing this fuel pump. If you just have the fuel pump, it's okay. I'm just doing this just out of security. I mean, I'm there, I'm gonna be taking it off, might as well replace it. All right guys, so we're here at the minivan, and the first thing you're gonna do, I already did it, is remove the seats. You're gonna have to remove the whole front row or the whole back row seats, remove all that. So the fuel pump is located right here, right in the center, okay? Somewhere around here. So you're gonna locate this back panel, you're gonna take it off, okay? And you're gonna go ahead and take a peek, and here it is. It lives right behind that cover right here in the center, sort of in the center. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna have to remove this plate right here, perhaps this one, and let's go ahead and unzip it and see how close we could get to that panel. So now that we have this lifted back, you're gonna go ahead and get a Phillips screwdriver, and you're gonna twist these. You're gonna see there's these little tabs that you're gonna turn until they fall out of the groove, so it could be pulled up. So I'm gonna show you here on this side. You just turn it like that. Okay, now you can lift up. That's it, it's off, and there she is. So for this next part, I'm going to be disconnecting the fuel line. So majority of the time there's fuel pressure in there. So what I'm going to want you to do is get some type of towel or rag or whatever you have that could absorb the fuel, and I want you to cover the front of it, okay? And when you start to pinch right here, some of that fuel pressure is going to escape this way, okay? So you're going to want to be able to sort of absorb the fuel and keep it from spraying everywhere off of pressure. Okay, here's the fuel. So now that I've loosened this hose, let me show you exactly what I did without having it all covered up. Okay, so this is going to sit in here just like this. You're going to pinch these two sides of this clip, okay, and it's going to release just like this, and then you're done. You have disconnected. This is for the fuel line that goes up to the front of the engine. You have disconnected it from the top of the pump. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the pigtail, and the pigtail has a tab right here in the side. I'm going to pinch it and then pull up, okay, and it's off, and here's the tab in the side. You're just going to pinch that and pull up. So now we have to remove the lid. So whenever you're doing a fuel pump inside the vehicle like this, you should have some sort of container or something that you don't mind putting gasoline into, so you don't put it all over your rug or your carpet when you're removing the pump out, because there's still going to be some fuel dripping out of this pump when I remove it, and you don't want to drip it all over the carpet inside the car. So now when it comes time to actually removing the lid off of the top of the fuel pump, there's three ways you could do it, possibly four, but there's three that I know of. Okay, you could use a pair of channel locks like this. You could use some type of flat screwdriver, or in this case a chisel with a hammer, and you're gonna hit it around. You're gonna hit it around the lid until it spins off. Or you could use the proper tool that is designed for this, that clamps around the top of this, that I actually don't have, and you could remove it that way. Regardless of what tools you have, you're gonna be able to somehow remove this lid off, okay? Just be careful not to damage it. And if you do damage it, you could replace the lid. They do sell it. Like I purchased one for this. Okay. just like that. If you were doing it with the chisel and hammer, you're gonna just hit it until you could loosen it like this, and then you could spin it by hand, like so. So this is the gasket that I ordered that I'm going to replace, and I'm going to replace this lid. You don't have to, but I'm going to. I'm going to set it here to the side, and now I'm going to go ahead and remove the fuel pump. You're just going to pull up. Just like that. Now, these fuel pumps are tricky because they always have this float, okay? And this float, you're gonna have to sort of maneuver it to the side and even pinch it back, okay? You wouldn't necessarily want to do that too much to the new one, okay? But since this is the old one, and I really don't mind if something breaks on it, I went ahead and forced it back a little bit so I could remove it without spilling all the fuel that's inside here. And this is why you have the container, okay? So on this inside of this fuel pump, you can see there's some seal. There's a gasket that sits in the inside. I also have that I'm replacing. So if you ever do spill any fuel inside your vehicle or inside anywhere in here, try to soak it up as much as you can. Never, 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 ever use a shop vac or any type of vacuum. I have heard stories and seen it on the news many times. When you spill any type of fuel, never vacuum it up. It will explode, okay? Never do that. So before you would install this fuel pump, what I would like you to do is you're gonna need to compare them. You're gonna wanna make sure that they both look the same. This is the original one, and this is the aftermarket one, or the new one. This is OEM, okay? You're gonna look at everything. You're gonna look at the top of the pigtail, where the plug goes. You're gonna look where the nozzle sits for the fuel pressure hose. You're gonna look at everything and just inspect it and make sure you're installing the correct part, okay? I'm also gonna go ahead and just compare the lid and the gasket that I got for it, okay? They look to be the same. I got the top seal and then the inner gasket as well. Everything looks fine. So now I could go ahead and assemble everything and install it. So I always say this, and I'm gonna say it in this video as well. Whenever you're sealing something with some type of rubber, okay, that you're sandwiching it, a rubber gasket into a piece of plastic or metal or anything, I like to use some form of lubrication, and in this case, I'm using silicone compound, okay? This works really well. I use it for O-rings, for injectors, for all sorts of things. And in this case, I'm going to use it to lube up the inside and the outside of this rubber gasket, okay? And really what it works as is a lubrication barrier. So when you're trying to massage this piece of rubber in between the plastic and the metal, it does not get pinched. It just kind of molds into place, falls in the right place, and you have no leaks, you have no problems because of that. So I'm going to go ahead and place this gasket where it needs to live, and it's right in between this seal, okay? This lip. Just like that. So now I could go ahead and maneuver this pump into the fuel tank. But this is always the tricky part. The tricky part is trying to massage it into the fuel tank, because you're gonna see this lever has to go in first, okay? So you're always gonna start with this float first and then work your way towards the back, just like that. You see that? So now that I have this in place, I'm gonna use, this is the top seal. It's like a little Teflon seal, so when you start tightening this, it doesn't bind up, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and place it inside here, just like that. I'm gonna sit this lid on there. So this is what it should be looking like, okay, for you guys. And you're just gonna twist it on. So in order to finish installing the hose, you're gonna need this clip right here, and please be gentle with it because they do break. If you remove this too aggressively, they do snap, okay? I'm prying through the back, just lifting up a little bit. You gotta get it over this little tab right here, and then it comes right off. So be careful when removing this, it does break at times. So in order to install it back onto this fuel line right here, you just simply grab it and insert it into the opening there, and you just push it back, and now you can install it back onto it. But before I do that, I'm gonna just lube up a little bit this nozzle here so I could give a little bit of lubrication for, there's an O-ring inside here so it doesn't pinch or anything. So I just have a little bit of lube. I'm not gonna put it in the front of the nozzle, I'm just gonna put it around it, just like that, okay? You just wanna lube it up so when it starts to move in, it could slide and move into the correct place. And you're gonna wanna hear an audible click, okay? And if you don't hear the click, pull back and make sure it's installed correctly. So here we go. There's the click, and it's not coming out. So that's installed correctly, and then go ahead and install the pigtail. So now that everything's installed here, before we put this plate cover on, we're gonna go ahead and start the vehicle, make sure everything's good, and then we're gonna put the plate cover on and install the seats on, and everything's done. So I'm gonna start the car, and I'm gonna go ahead and gonna prime the pump. I open it, I put it to ignition on, engine off. Then I'm gonna do it a second time. Okay. Then I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna inspect. Make sure everything's good. There's no fuel leaking out of here or anything. Everything looks great. So let's go ahead and start the vehicle. There we go. So now I can go ahead and put the cover on. Okay. Gonna push down on it. And we are all done. All right, so that's all we have for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up.